Dixie here. Today I want to talk to you about weight loss during a long distance hike or a through hike, and if it's actually an effective means of doing so if you're looking to shed some pounds. I think most people would agree that exercising is a good way to maintain a healthy weight, and I know several people in this community have integrated day hiking and overnight backpacking trips into their lifestyle as a way to reduce their weight to a healthy for them weight. But I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen the before and after pictures of people who have set out on a through hike, and whether they finished or went halfway or whatever, in that span of time, they seem to drop a lot of weight. I reached out to some folks to ask them about their experiences with weight loss on a long distance or a through hike, and I asked for folks to share their transformation photos. It seems that people are starting to use through hiking as a method of kind of kickstarting a new lifestyle and a weight loss program for themselves. Take Second Chance Hiker, for example. If you haven't seen his channel, you should definitely check it out. He had an amazing journey on the Pacific Crest Trail last year, and when he started the trail, he weighed 400 pounds. After 6 months of hiking, he had dropped 105 pounds. And for him, he said it was kind of a way to just turn over a new leaf in his life and just start with a complete lifestyle change. Typically, males do drop more weight than females, and in a different way. A lot of the guys that I've seen on a through hike and that I've talked to about weight loss during their through hike say that they seem to lose a lot of muscle mass in their upper body, and it kind of migrates down to their legs. While some women find that they don't lose any weight at all, and actually some end up gaining a few pounds. And for myself, that was kind of true. I maintained within a 5 to 10 pound range every through hike that I've done. But regardless, I think if you're a male or a female, if you're considered overweight for your particular age and height, that you're gonna find yourself dropping that weight during a through hike. Now, if you're one of the folks that does look at weight loss on a through hike as a benefit, I don't want to burst your bubble, but it might not be the best method for losing that weight for several reasons. First of all, most of the people who I talked to who were excited about their weight loss after a through hike ended up gaining it back, and sometimes ended up weighing more than they did when they first started their through hike. Of course, it's natural to gain some back, because when you get back to everyday life, it's not really feasible to continue walking 20 miles and still go to work. And one of the reasons they might have gained more back is my second point, and that's that through hiking can create some terrible habits when it comes to eating, because you get used to eating whatever you want and still losing weight. So you're not creating good eating habits, you're actually kind of wreaking havoc on them. Most people eat pure junk while they're on a long distance hike, and that's because sugar is easy to carry along, and oftentimes your body is craving it while you're out there. And your hiker hunger kicks in, and then you're just eating more and more, and for me, sometimes it felt like I couldn't keep up with my hunger. Then folks get home and they're still craving a crazy amount of calories every day, but their bodies have become still, they're not exercising and exerting themselves as much, so those calories really start to catch up with them. So it's like going 100 miles per hour and then abruptly stopping and just going into everyday is 0 day mode. Also, if you have an injury and you're not able to exercise, or you're just exhausted by the time you get home and you think, my feet hurt, I just kind of want to lay around on the couch for a little while, then that kind of gets you already into that mode of not exercising again. And finally, while you're out on trail, you miss having instant access to whatever food you're craving at the time. So you're used to only being able to have what you can put in your pack and carry with you for maybe a week at a time or so. So you get home and it's exciting to eat at all the old restaurants you've missed, and to have food that you're craving at the time exactly when you want it, because through hikers love food. We talk about food all the time and the things that we wish we could have, and then you get home and you have access to all of that. So it's just kind of the perfect storm. Now, with all of that said, I am not trying to sprinkle negativity into anybody's plans or to bum you out if you are looking forward to the weight loss side effects of a through hike. I just want to make everybody aware of what tends to happen to folks, and that it is something that you have to be dedicated to if you're aiming to keep the weight off, because through hiking doesn't enable good habits. I did talk to some thru hikers who were able to keep the weight off or maintain a healthy for them weight balance once they returned home. They shared some tips with me, so I'm going to pass those on to y'all. First, a lot of them were making healthy choices before they left to go on their thru hike. They had started eating a better diet, had started exercising, they were eating whole foods instead of processed foods, more fruits and veggies. And even though when they got out there on their thru hikes and they were eating like garbage, they craved those fruits and vegetables that they were having before they hit the trail. So in town, they were making smarter choices. And then once they got home, they were excited about having access to fruits and veggies and more healthy foods. With that said, if you're thinking about waiting until your thru hike to deal with the whole weight loss and then making healthier choices, I would say don't wait. Go ahead and start now eating fruits and vegetables. So hopefully it'll be like riding a bicycle, and when you get off trail, you'll go back to those healthier ways. Next, the folks who were able to keep some of the weight off made sure that once they got home, they were still exercising. And one fella said that he ended up with an injury and didn't exercise at all when he got home because of that injury. He said in hindsight, he wishes he had done some sort of rowing exercises. So just some things to think about if you do find that you've got an injury, or like me, my feet were really sore and I just wanted to prop them up and rest. But instead of running or jogging or walking, I probably could have done swimming or some other exercise to keep myself in the mode of I need to exercise frequently. If you are determined that you just want to prop your feet up and rest once you get home, then maybe give yourself a set number of days to just relax and maybe even eat some of those restaurants that you missed at home. And then once the certain date hits, actually stick to it. But I think it's probably a better idea to maintain that exercise just in case you find yourself after your set number of days being like, well, maybe I'll go, another week, and then you just never get back into exercising. Another suggestion is when you return to work post-hike, if it's possible for your line of work to get a position where you're up on your feet at least some of the day moving around, that's going to be better than being stagnant behind a computer screen all the time. The folks who are able to maintain their desired weight post-hike said not only did they continue exercising, but of course they started eating well also. They dropped the sugars, focused on whole foods, fruits and vegetables, anything that wasn't highly processed, and they really made a point to make that change and to get out of all the junk they were eating on trail. And that's kind of a no-brainer, but that's just something that you have to accept and really just be disciplined about. And then as your body adjusts to not doing 20 miles per day and burning all of those calories, you can slowly start reducing your portions. But the biggest thing that all of these folks agreed on how they were able to keep the weight off is they acknowledged and accepted that it had to be a complete lifestyle change. So whatever it was they decided to do, they did it and stuck with it. Some people have reported having some luck with eating healthy on trail. Personally, I was never able to have the self-control to do that, but I did try to find ways to be a little bit healthier than I had been at other times. I made a video on that. I'll include the link to that in the video description below, and I'm sure in the comments of that video there are a lot of good tips for trying to eat healthy on trail. Finally, I think a lot of this is just a mental hurdle that you have to get over, and I wasn't quite sure how to suggest to overcome that. But in talking to fellow Triple Crowner Patches, who I met on my CDT thru hike, she had a great comparison as to how some of the things you do on trail can actually create good habits. And a lot of that is just changing your perspective and outlook on it. She more or less compared a thru hike to laugh, which I do a lot, and created this analogy that while you're preparing your food supply for a stretch, so when you go and do a resupply, that's like shopping at the grocery store. So every several days you go and do your resupply while you're grocery shopping in normal life, and that you have to do meal prep while on the trail because you've got to figure out exactly how many meals you need, exactly what you're going to eat, what snacks you're going to have, and you put that in your pack and carry it with you. But in normal life, you're doing meal planning, and you just have to be disciplined to do that. So when you go to the grocery store, you set aside that time, whether you do it weekly or bi-weekly, to plan what you're going to eat for the next few days, and you make a conscious choice to trade out all of the junk that you were eating on trail for healthier foods when you're at the grocery store. Patches said that she had to learn to not treat every day post through hike as a 0 day or a town day, because as a lot of through hikers would recognize, that when you get to town, you really eat a lot because everything's hot and fresh and good. And whether you're splurging on, you know, hamburgers and fries, or whether you crave fruits and vegetables, and you get those town days are just wonderful because you can get pretty much whatever you want to eat. So Patches says that you've got to look at maybe the weekends or whatever days you choose as cheat days as town days, and everything else is like an on-trail day where, again, you've done some sort of meal prep and you know what you're going to eat. So not every day in normal life is a town day or a 0 day. Those are on-trail days, and splurge days are those days that you can act like you're in town on a through hike. She says that she eats snacks all the time still, just like she did on trail, but she's traded Snickers for things like carrots and celery. Anyway, I thought that was a great analogy and some good advice. So hopefully that helps some of y'all change your perspective a little bit and just shift to look at normal life as you would on a through hike, and you just kind of change some things out. All right, y'all, well, that is all I have for you today. I hope that some of that is useful for y'all who are heading out there on a through hike and hoping to lose a little weight while you're out there and maintain that post hike. If anybody who wasn't able to contribute to this has some tips or tricks, feel free to share that in the comments below. Thank y'all so much for watching, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe before you go, and we will see y'all next time.